What's up, galera? It's Hey with Jinga and Grow Strong, and I'm back with finally the intermediate Capoeira blueprint. And I know I told you I was going to do it a couple weeks ago, but when we started collecting all the data, when we started putting all this things together, it was a lot of stuff, and I was like, I need a separate video with just the fundamental prerequisites so that you know when you're ready to go into the intermediate course or do the intermediate capoeira. Now, doesn't mean you can start practicing like I mentioned in a couple of those other videos, like the movement blueprint or the fundamental blueprint. I say you need to start attacking those earlier while still in the fundamental program, is if that's what inspires you, and if you're acrobatically more athletic and you want to attack those, then go ahead. But this is that for sure. The fundamental program, you need to have that lickety split, all those basics, kicks, dodges, movements, sequences, music, to go on to this section. Now, I'm assuming now that you've read that or you've done that, and if you haven't, then I'm going to post the link above, and you go watch that video first, and then you buy my Fundamentals of Capoeira, which teaches you all the first 12 months of Brazilian Capoeira that you'll need. You're going to you can even start with my free Capoeira course. It comes with a free fitness challenge with diet, exact grocery list, everything you need to be successful. If that's what you're doing, using Capoeira Force for fitness, if you're learning for the art, then take either way, take our 90-second Capoeira survey. It lets you dictate what kind of content that we're going to have on this, and I've answered a lot of questions that through there, and it's really the response has been great because I'm giving y'all exactly what y'all want and exactly what y'all want to know. I have 14 years of Capoeira experience. I've been teaching for pretty much like 10 years. I've owned 2 Capoeira academies. You know what I mean? And we're still alive and kicking, even despite the COVID-19 shutdown, which was an attack on small businesses all across the earth. We're still here. So I love you guys. Take the survey, get the free course, get Fundamentals of Capoeira, watch those the blueprint, and I'll put all the links above and below. Okay, let's get started. All right, so here's a quick, this is what I'm going to tell you. This is what I'm laid out for. Okay, so first I'm going to tell you on this far left here, okay, the intermediate techniques, sort of like in the fundamentals program where I told you exactly which techniques, one by one, you're going to need to learn. So these are the intermediate to advanced techniques. I'm going to then go over the takedowns, okay, the advanced takedowns and which ones exactly you need to know, advanced strikes, acrobatics, the intermediate to advanced acrobatics, ground and and air. And then other skills that you're going to need. For example, kicking combinations, solos, defense, counterattacks, partner work. I'm going to go into detail about all that. Okay, and finally, at the end, I'm going to go over these last 2 situations, which is your music. What kind of stuff do you need to be doing at the music level? Okay, and what kind of stuff you need to be doing for other expectations, like other expectations. For example, your respect, your loyalty, your helping the academy, braiding cords, all sorts of stuff, knowing your history, we'll get into all that. So this is a full walkthrough of the blueprint. Now this is a prerequisite. I'm going to create our intermediate Capoeira blueprint. Intermediate Capoeira skills, kind of like the fundamentals of Capoeira. If you've bought that, you know exactly what that is. It's the first 12 months, everything you're going to be doing, kind of like an encyclopedia of moves, in detailed description. It's got videos, it's got music, it's got everything that you need to know. Now, this one is going to, I'm going to have an early bird sale before I do it. Now, I already have one I've mentioned before, I've already had one for my students called the Leadership Program. Some of y'all might have it. That I put it as a bonus for O'Hay's Capoeira bundle or something like that. Some of y'all might have it. But I'm going to discontinue that because I want to give one specifically for you, and that way I could retain the other one for my personal students. And so what I'm going to do at the end, I'm going to explain. We're going to be doing an early bird buy-in, like $50, $49, and you're going to. I'm going to have a dialogue with you, exactly what you want. So you're going to be able to be a part of the creation process. And because once I finish it and create, it'll be over $100, it'll be like $100, $150. But so the early bird buy-in will be $50. You'll be a part of creating it and tell me exactly what else that you want on it. I'm going to include all this stuff, and I'm going to blow your mind already with the stuff. So if I leave you in the dust, it's okay. Come back and watch it again. Go watch the fundamental blueprint video. You may not understand exactly what I'm saying because this is intermediate to advanced stuff. So go watch my videos. I'll put links and I'll tell you exactly where you need to go. If you want to buy some of my other products, my beginner products, I'll give you those links as well. So, all right, without further ado, simbora. All right, the first one is the intermediate techniques. Intermediate techniques that you need to know in the intermediate to advanced program is chapa direita. Chapa direita is like a karate sidekick. Okay, like the Bruce Lee's kick. It comes from the back. Like looks like a bensao, and it turns sides. So it turns sideways, and you kick with the bottom of your foot, a side kick. So that's like a martial arts, typical martial arts side kick. Holly Holmes always using her side kick. So that's what that is, chapa direita. Now we're doing it more disciplined. Instead of with Jenga and power and momentum that we usually use, we're doing it from the back discipline with just form alone. So it's a little bit harder. Chapa giratoria, which is a rotating side kick, learning how to use that and actually hit your target. That's very important. You need to know this at the intermediate level. Meia lua de compasso with one hand and no hand. So initially I taught you with two. Now you have to learn how to use one hand and no hands. Now I've learned a lot through my master, through my direct teacher, and he's my master message vagado now, and my other surrogate master Furacao in our group. These guys are awesome. Learned this sequence, which is first learn with two hands, meia lua de compasso, because it makes your head go down and it makes you give a better form. Your head goes down, that means your leg goes up. Okay, it's basic physics. And what they taught me about that was after that, then you start training with one hand. You're going to get a little bit faster. Then with no hands, it's going to wobble you out. You may have a very lot of difficulty doing meia lua with no hands. But when you learn this sequence and you train thousands and thousands of kicks like I have, so initially hundreds and hundreds for you, until you're ready to step it up, it teaches you the form, teaches you the speed, how to throw it faster, and then at the end of it, you'll return back to meia lua with two hands on the floor. I do. Whenever I want to throw a fast, vicious meia lua, I'll use a meia lua with two hands. So it is what it is. That's how it goes. I know it's faster for me. I throw my head down violently. The leg swings around faster, chops, and hits. All right. Also, at the intermediate level, you'll be learning espora and esporão, okay, which are hook kicks. So just like a regular capoeira or taekwondo, karate or taekwondo hook kick, espora hits the kidney. It's a body shot, and esporão is to the back of the head. Okay, so it hooks around and hits in the back of the head or in the face, depending on what angle that you catch them at. If they wince and you catch them in the face, but aim for the back of the head. Martelo rodado is a jump spinning kick like a hurricane or a tornado kick. And if you're more acrobatic or if you're more athletic, I would recommend going on to 540 and 720. These are two different variations. Like the tricksters, the trickers that you'll see on YouTube. You can look it up. So if you are more daring or if you're really more athletic or you've got yourself in shape and you feel confident, I recommend doing those as well. Parafuso is a jumping armada. Okay, there's a lot of parafusos in different groups. What I'm talking about is a jumping armada. You jump off you step across, you get an armada, you jump off 2 feet, deliver the armada in the air, and land to the back on 2 feet. That's now parafusinho. I made up that name because I couldn't find a name of what this specific technique, but it's pretty much like a giro spin or martelo rodado with the other leg out instead of the back leg. So you have your front leg out. And usually a lot of CDO guys use this. It's beautiful because it usually sets up a beautiful meia lua. Okay, do a parafusinho and right to a meia lua right after. I love it. I love the way they use it. I use it the same way. Other techniques that I forgot to put on the fundamentals because there are two. I forgot about them. But chapa em pé is a donkey kick, so it looks like a meia lua, and you end up kicking with the bottom of your foot to blast your opponent. So chapa em pé and shibata. Now I do have a shibata mini mastery course free on YouTube. I'll put the link above and below so you can access that. It's like a forward meia lua. You hit with the front of your foot and you spin through it. Okay, it's pretty sweet, easy. But I'll give you a master course as well with that. So check out the link. Okay, moving on. Intermediate takedowns. Okay, so what you're going to use here is these. I'm going to list these techniques. A banda is a front trip or a leg sweep. Banda de costa is heel to heel. Okay, it could even be a judo type throw with your hip and everything. And but if you want to know more about about leg sweeps, bandas, and banda de costas, and escapes and setups and the psychology of it, get my O'Hay's hook and pull. It's a mastery course on that. I'll put a link above and below. It'll blow your mind if you're ready to start mixing it up and learning if you want to master your capoeira foot sweeps. Tesoura de joelho, and she as a backward scissor. Now, learn all the tesoura. Tesoura de joelho, tesoura de costa, tesoura de frente. So costa is a backwards one. Maybe do a backwards, so the guy lands on his back, and you're doing a backwards scissor takedown. Tesoura de joelho is attacking the knee. Okay, we went over that in the last video. Tesoura de frente is similar to tesoura de joelho, the knee one, but you're wiping out his hips and you're taking out knocking out his whole torso instead of just his knee and knocking him down with the leverage of one leg. Cool? Cool. Arrastão is a double leg takedown. Remember, in Capoeira, we don't put our knee on the ground, so there's a lot of variations, single legs, double legs, but it's pretty much you pick up the guy using arrastão, slam him on the floor, okay, and with all the variations. Now, there's also a mesa bimba called boca de calça, which is the mouth of your pants. So you grab their pants, it's the same thing. You load up for a double leg takedown, you pull their pants, and you use the leverage of your shoulder to make the guy fall. Agarrão is like a sprawl, and then you grab the guy. So it means grabbed. So if the guy's trying to do a double leg takedown to you, you sprawl and grab it. So agarrão, you got to know the defense to arrastão. It's one of them. Okay. Other intermediate strikes we forgot to talk about, or that are strikes but not takedowns. Cabeçada is a headbutt. Soco is a punch. Galopante is a knee. Galopante is knee, or ajoelhada, also known as. Palma de mão is a hand slap, hand slap. Laca. Okay. Cotovelada, we went over this in my Portuguese video, part 2. It's an elbow strike. Tapa de leg, he's a backhand. Boom! I love tapa de leg because the setup for it is sweet. It's like a fake quixada, backhand to do. And then carrinho de mão is a dump. You can dump the guy. You make somebody do a front roll, front flip. It's usually, I would say it's a takedown. Someone is a negativa, about to do hole, and you intercept them, and you basically flip them over on top. Now, they could be a slam, but usually capoeiristas are savvy to that, and they roll, which is good. You know, we're good with our bodies. So usually it's still, you just interrupt them, you score points, you flip them over, and if you can slam them, you can slam them. If not, it's usually just they roll the ball. It's like a front roll. But you get them and you make them do that. All right, onward and upward. Intermediate acrobatics. Okay, so starting with the acrobatics, queda de rins variations. So not just the balled up one. It's going to be leg forward, leg backwards, queda de rins, 2 legs up. And if you were looking for a complete course and description of queda de rins variations, you could get my O'Hays Capoeira Ground Game System Part 1. That's pretty thorough. That's from absolute beginner to intermediate, and then you get part 2 also. Part 2 is cool. It's just more advanced, and there's more other ground stuff like the Amazonas, what we're talking about here. Piau de mão, which is a hand spin. Piau de cabeça is a head spin. Bananeira, cabeça no chão, is a headstand. So before you start spinning on your head, make sure that you could stand on your head, okay? So those are all in O'Hays Capoeira Ground Game System Part 1 and 2. I'll put the link above and below, and there's a description of all the moves in there as well, so you can see exactly what you want. But that's what that is. Okay, esse dobrado, which is an amazing move. It's like it's a kind of a derivative of martello de negativa, which is the strongest kick in the world, the most efficient kick from Fight Science, the one that Lateef Crowder does on that National Geographic, I think, the Fight Science thing. I'll put the link above to that video. You can check it out, or I do a tutorial on it. But the actual video as well has a link to the Lateef Crowder video. So, esse dobrado is a kind of derivative of that, but you go over the top into and actually, you know what? I do have a free tutorial here on YouTube, so I'll put a link to that first, above and below. Okay, macaco em pé is a macaco standing up. In the fundamental program, we learned the monkey flip. Now we're doing a standing monkey flip. It's it's pretty sweet. Mariposa is the B twist. Okay, now we're going to start. If you're at that level where you want to start testing yourself, this is what the capoeira, the acrobatics are about. B twist. Aula de frente sem mão, which is like an aerial, but you do a quarter twist and you come out like with your hips up. It's sweet. Okay, so these are the ones like if you're really to do it. You know, if you're younger, or if not, when I started training when I was 26, and a few years into it, I was almost 30, and I was doing these moves. I was doing these moves for a long time. I still got them in my back pocket. Mortal. When I say mortal, I want to categorize it with a lot of different ones. For example, a regular back flip, it could be a back tuck, it could be a layout, it could be a pike, side flip. Okay, I'm putting all these together, and they have different names. You know, any ones with a twist, like it could be Americana, which is like an Arabian. You know what I mean? It could be a quarter twist, or a half twist. Folia seca is a gainer. So these are the stuff that that I do. Tres tiempos is a corkscrew. You could cheat all these corkscrew, and I used to have a almost good one. I mean, I would land like 83% of all the ones that I threw, and that's as good as I got it. I mean, it was a scary move. You throw yourself up in the air, you twist, come back down. So, but one of the hardest ones that took me like 5 years is Hais. Okay, Hais, or as they say in the tricking world, rise. Hais is sweet, and it took me a long time to get it to where I wanted it, and then it was still not as good as people I see on on YouTube and online, but it's still sweet. Hais. Going aerial. And au trocado. Au trocado, I have a tutorial. I'll put a link above and below. It's you go au one way, then you jump halfway through the au, go airborne. I mean, just a little airborne. Just take your hands off the floor. You'll be floating through the air, and then you end up doing au facing the opposite direction. It's pretty sweet. A lot of CDO guys use that. So that's intermediate acrobatics. Let's move on. Okay, what are some other skills that you need in the intermediate program? Other skills that you're going to need is to learn how to do 3- and 4-step kicking combinations. Secuencia cruzadas. I've talked about it a lot in my other kicking sequence videos, and I'll put a link above and below so you can access that. 3 to 4 stick. For example, I do a quixada with the right leg, and then a bensal with my right leg, pontapé, and then a side kick of chapa direita. So quixada, bensal, pontapé, chapa at that sequence. Boom, 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 boom. To have it lickety split. This is the time you're going to be developing that disciplined attacks. It's martial arts. Okay, so 3- and 4-step combination kicking combinations, then 3- and 4-step movement combinations. Now I talked about it in my Capoeira movement blueprint. That once you learn the fundamentals of movement, then you learn to putting 1- and 2-step 2-step combinations together only, and then from there, as you move into a more intermediate movement, Capoeira movement person or a practitioner, you're starting to put more 3 and 4-step movement. This is really going to develop your game and your movement. Now, also you got to learn if you follow along, voador. Voador is a solo. Okay, it means that you may be doing a solo for 1 minute, 30 seconds, 50 seconds. So this is what you see probably like Raw Tricks or me doing or any other people just doing capoeira to the camera by itself. It's a solo. Okay, but when you start doing these, videotape yourself or whatever they call it nowadays. Record yourself on your camera, on your digital camera or your phone or whatever, and see yourself, see what you like and what you don't like. I used to write voador sequences. I'd write out 10, 12 sequences and do them because I wanted to have it dialed down and actually get them. So after that, 3- and 4-step attacking and defending patterns. For example, you have to work with a partner on this one. For example, you'll have to, the partner 1 does quixada, partner 2 does pontapé, partner 1 goes dodges and counter kicks again. Or like crossing kicks, but at a higher level, at a 3- and 4-step attacking and defending patterns with your partner. This is going to help you very good to be on your toes and to do everything that you need to do to protect yourself in the roda and start developing that sixth sense and that sense where you can defend yourself even in the midst of doing cartwheels and tricks when there's attacks coming at you. And that's the main thing people don't understand about capoeira is like, how do you do that? Why do you do that? It's something that you develop over time. To know that you're protected all the time and that you only do your moves in a protected time when the other guy's doing his move or transitioning outwards, and it's that sense that you need to develop with doing it. Sparring, nahada. Okay, next. There's also an advanced dodge. There's a couple of them, but this is one that you definitely need to know. Esquiva de fundamento, so it's a dodge of penetration, going towards into your opponent. Instead of going away and away from the attack instinctively, you're going right at the attack and you're staying inside the pocket while dodging. Why do we do this, Ohei? It's because we're setting up a quicker counterattack when it's all about timing. You're going to be kicking them because at a higher level, intermediate and advanced level, you can't just dodge in a counterattack. They're going to be gonzo, man. You got to learn how to kick people when they're in transition to kicking or doing a move. And so this is one of the transitional dodges that helps us get there and hit that good timing. Okay, good. All right, now along with that, you have to learn to counter kick anybody who throws any kick at you. Usually, if they do quixada, armada, meia lua, you have to learn how to hit them with a bensal, pontapé, or martello. He'll kick whatever with good timing. This is when you're going to be developing, going from intermediate to advanced. You're going to have to get your fundamentals down. You need to be able being able to tag them at the perfect time over and over and over again. So it's just reactive. It's part of the capoeira. This is a part of the martial arts part. And finally, on this note, you have to learn counters to vinga, chiva, rasteira, tesouras, and bandas. All the advanced techniques in the fundamentals we talked about, you have to learn at least 3 or 4 different counters to them. Like I said, I have a lot of those in my hook and pull. Have a lot of those in my vinga chiva mastery series to counter them. Usually, to know them all, and I'll usually go back to my two or three. I'll try one, doesn't work, then I'll do another, and I always have one in the back pocket. And if the third one doesn't work, and it usually does, the second one usually always works. So I never really got to the fourth, but I have other ones in my pocket to counter it when someone's trying to take you down with those that we talked about. Okay, sound good? Let's move on. All right, now we're coming to the final section here. Now we got these last 2 things, okay? Music, and then other expectations that you're expected to do as an intermediate and developing advanced capoeira student in your capoeira academy. Okay, so let's start with the music. So in the fundamental program, you had a small responsibility of clapping, singing, playing pandero, and knowing a certain amount of choruses. Now you didn't have to know any solos or that many back then. Now, as an intermediate, it is very important that you start learning the solos. Portuguese needs to start getting better. You're going to be learning dozens and dozens of songs, solos, and choruses. Okay, so that's what I've lickety split. I mean, no, that's a non-negotiable. There used to be a lot of awesome capoeiristas who couldn't. They were just jogadores. Now, Mestre Pingo Fogo had said that if you can't play and do everything, if you can't play the music, sing the songs, command the roda, then you're just a jogador. You just want to get in there and play. You're not a capoeirista. You're a jogador. Okay, de capoeira. And I've always done everything. I've always been well-rounded or tried to be well-rounded and worked on everything from ukulele, dance, samba, percussion, of course the music of the Portuguese and the capoeira music, along with flips, along with takedowns, along with a lot of kicks, was what it is. All right, so another thing you need to learn from the intermediate to the advanced program is playing any instrument and singing at the same time. It's going to be tough at first. Even if you're a musician, it's a weird instrument. You're playing some weird new rhythms that aren't like traditional music. But if you are a musician, if you stay with it, then that's going to help you. It's going to help you off. I moved ahead of a lot of people who couldn't play and sing the berimbau. And usually the berimbau is for more advanced players. I moved in right away as a first-year student because I would just go out there, put myself out there, practice and try it. And then I bought a berimbau a few months later. And I just did it, I did it. And while other people couldn't do it, I was standing ahead of 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th chords. Me, a first chord student, was already playing the berimbau and commanding the roda. It wasn't the best, but it was better than them. So don't ever be that, Don't ever be that. Get your music down. Okay, and sing. Atabaque is the drum, so that's essential. In the first year capoeira, it's a big thing. Clapping and singing, or playing and singing with a pandero is good enough. Atabaque, you should really start learning that maybe 6 months, 7 months in. If you're having trouble, then don't even worry about it until after a year, or until you've gotten the pandero and all the singing. Once you've resolved those issues, you got to play the drum. Ijeja, the 3 different rhythms that I recommend: Ijeja, Cadencia, Samba, and Makulele. That's probably all you'll ever need for a Brazilian capoeira group in the United States or outside of Brazil, really. Play the berimbau, the most important instrument in capoeira. It commands the roda. It was introduced late. It wasn't a part of one of the original bateria, and know the 7 toques. I have a video on which 7 rhythms you need to learn. I'll put it above and below. Okay, get that. Make sure you know them all lickety split good and be able to sing with them, the one that you're supposed to. There's a couple that you don't sing with. Learn how to string a berimbau is very important. You want to be a graduado and start. You know how to string on a berimbau. Now, women have a lot of trouble with this because they're not strong enough to do it. So they give up, and I'm like, come on now, get this crap done. But even men too, the men that never learn how to string their berimbau and tie a cabasa, which is the round part, the gourd, to tie it up, correctly. Now, do you need to learn how to make a berimbau? That's not important. You could get one. It's good if we had a workshop when we went to Brazil the first time. We took a berimbau making workshop with Mestre Militon. And from the beginning, the only thing we didn't do was pick it. We were supposed to, but it was like scheduled things. So he showed up with a bunch of fresh I think they're already dried, freshly dried biribas, which we shaved, we sanded, we cut, and we did everything else to finish them and to make everything for a birimbau. Do you need to do that? Not necessarily. You just buy them, man. If you can't get them, you know what I mean? I have some people here in Austin, the Capoeira Connection. Those guys make them, so go check those guys out. But it's not biriba. It's not the real stuff, but it's good enough. I mean, it's okay. I'm not charging full price for. It's like ligustrum or something like that. The type of wood that it is. Anyway, okay. Finally, we've gone down to the last portion. Now, this is very important. These are other expectations that we have for you as an intermediate to advanced player as you're moving towards graduado. You have to know how to. I put a star by this because it's not absolutely mandatory, depending on your master. Some of them they want to take control of that. They want to do that. They buy them. I don't know exactly, but in our group and many other groups, you have to know how to cut, dye, and fray and knot your cords. Now, there's two different systems. I mean, not necessarily. There's a lot of systems, but there's the solid cord system, which we are, which it's easier. But there's a braided system, which is tough. I don't know exactly how they do it. If they hand twine them, if they hand braid them, if they hand, or if they're done by a machine. And so that was tough. And then we have other groups that have both inside one. They have both solid cords and braided system. So, I think it's very important to know how to do that in your group, whatever your group dictates. Now we expect you as a higher cord to play in the halter frequently to start practicing. It's pretty much sparring. You know what I mean? Getting out there and doing it more often and not just sitting on the sidelines. Okay. Traveling to events is essential so that you play different people for different games. With different games, some people kind of like basketball. People come at you differently. Some people are going to charge. Some people are going to shoot threes. Some people are going to play both, whatever. So you have to learn how to play different people and learn their games and be responsive to get your game off, even though no matter what kind of game they're giving to you. You need to work on your Portuguese. Also, remember, I have a course. I have a free video. I think I mentioned it earlier. I'll put the link above and below. How to be successful in capoeira. It's like 4 things to concentrate on. I break it up. It's super detailed. It's awesome. And learning Portuguese is one of them, at least your conversational Portuguese, because you're able to sit in those conversations as a fly on the wall. You're able to talk to ancient masters. If you go to Brazil, or if the Brazilians, they bring them over for your event, and you could get into those deep conversations that aren't meant for the gringos. Okay, not that they care. Sometimes they do. They don't want you there. Sometimes they do because they don't think you know Portuguese. And if you do know, you're able to get those rich, super golden nuggets of wisdom from those capoeira masters. Okay, so you also need to have a relationship with your mestre. Okay, so if you don't train directly with a mestre, if your mestre comes in and visits you all once or twice a year, okay, it's good to start having a relationship with him, know him at an intermediate to advanced level. They're going to start looking and knowing who you are and what you want to do, and are you dedicated to the group and this and that. So start developing a relationship with your master if you haven't already. You got to know your history of capoeira, what it was. Capoeira is a 500-year-old martial art created in Brazil by African slaves, la la la. All that stuff. You got to know the poppy answer, and then you really got to know the roots after you've done this many times. For example, you got to know the history of your lineage, of your personal group. Where does your capoeira come from? Okay, who's your master's master? Who's your master's master? So on and so forth. Okay, are y'all derived from Bimba? Are y'all derived from Pastinha, or someone else? Remember that capoeira was developed. These guys were just 2 guys that started the first couple academies, but capoeira was passed down secretively from master to disciple, secretively. So there's dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, you know what I mean? Who knows, in the groups that had the initial capoeira knowledge and were passing it down to their students, to their fellow slaves. Okay. After knowing your lineage, know the history of, if you don't have to go, there's a lot of different very significant masters, and you can go as much as you want, but at least know Bimba and Pastinha. Okay, Master Bimba, Pastinha. The Regional and Angola original masters who opened up the first academies in each respective style, Know them. Okay, know exactly what their history is and know what they're about at least. Okay, and now you have to help and support your academy with good character and good loyalty. Okay, this means helping out the academy, doing what you need, housing people. It's very important to permeate permeate the capoeira. Capoeira is often looked at as a weird, like a second chance martial art. If people think martial arts is karate, go put little Timmy in karate. So whenever people talk about capoeira, which has so much more than any martial art, And especially if you have one that grapples and does MMA like ours, but they're teaching them acrobatics, they're teaching them music, culture, dance, language, all that stuff, in addition to the martial art, the self-defense. It's awesome. It's hard. It's hard to like keep a good capoeira studio. Trust me, we've had success. We've been blessed. I've gotten consultation by business coaches, and they've helped me be successful. But the majority of them don't, and they're just a ragtag group of people who are doing it and keeping it real. So help them. Help them if they're worthy of it. If there's some scumbags and you do whatever you want, train by yourself or be fake. And I don't recommend ever being fake, but someone that you don't respect, then don't even train with them. But if they are, help those guys out because they don't know crap and they don't want to take the investment. Only a couple that are willing to take the coaching, willing to do some business advising, and make their academies work and be productive and be successful. Okay, so help those guys out. So all right, let's wrap this up. A quick review of everything that we talked about here on the Intermediate Capoeira Blueprint. Okay, intermediate techniques. Remember, we went through all the different single technique at the higher level, which we went through. Then we talked about the high-level takedowns. Okay, high-level takedowns, all the leg sweeps, the hip takedowns, the double leg takedowns, and some of the advanced strikes like punches, elbows, knees, boxing of the ears, flips, when you flip the guy over, and backhands, all those. Then we talked about acrobatics, advanced floor and aerial. So we talked about all that stuff. A lot. It's awesome. That's what I love about capoeira. Then we talked about other skills you need to know at an intermediate level: 3 and 4 step kicking combinations, 3 and 4 step movement combinations, voador sequences, 3 and 4 step attacking and defending patterns with a partner, how to counter kick anybody with any kick, good timing. This is the time that you're going to be developing your timing and your muscle memory for defending yourself and for blasting people. And also remember, know all the counters to all the takedowns. Okay, at least have 3 to 4 in your back pocket, and you're only going to use 1 or 2. It's fine. Finally, we talked about everything you need for the music as far as the instrumentation, the bidding bow rhythms that you need, the cadencia, everything, how to string a bidding bow, how to tie a cabasa. And then finally, the last one, other expectations is more like your morals, your character, your loyalty, your building relationships, Portuguese, all the other stuff that you need to do as an intermediate to advanced player or capoeirista. Okay, guys, so remember, I'm going to put a link, and if it's not there immediately, it'll be there soon, but we're doing a pre-launch, pretty much a pre-sale, okay, for $49 of the intermediate techniques of capoeira. But what's going to happen is be like $49 because once I finish it and it's a finished product, it's going to be like $100, $150 because it's going to be a very well polished product. And so if you do buy in on the early bird price, you're going to be a part of making it. What does that mean? That means I already have all this stuff. It's going to blow your mind no matter what. But we're also going to show that to you, tell you what I'm going to show you, and then ask you what else that you want. So you'll be, if there's something else that I forgot or that you want that I didn't talk about in the program, you'll be able to help me build it so it can be exactly what you guys want. So it sounds good. So that link, we'll be looking for that link below. It may not be there right away. I have to go set it up. But yeah, jump on that because once I have it ready, then it'll be a regular price only. It'll be like probably $150 because we're going to put a lot of work. And this is high level. This is the higher level stuff, the timings, all that, partner work, the skills. Sound good? Okay. All right, guys. So if you have any questions, don't forget to take the 90-second survey. If you have questions, put them below in the comments. I love to serve you guys. Until next time, stay safe. Jinga and grow strong. Ashe.